If you're looking for a scenic drive in Banff that combines beautiful viewpoints, hidden gems, wildlife sightings, hiking trails, and the chance to be by the water, Lake Minnewanka Scenic Drive might just be the perfect option. I'm going to take you on one of Banff's most underrated scenic drives and show you why Lake Minnewanka Scenic Drive should absolutely be on your itinerary. Before we dive in, I want to share something from a client who recently booked a 1-hour travel consultation with me. Here's what she had to say. We did a 1-hour Zoom travel consultation to go over our itinerary, and it was invaluable to making our trip unforgettable. Celine helped me plan out our trip with amazing suggestions and guidance. Her advice helped us create the most magical trip and truly maximize our time. I would absolutely recommend her services for anything Banff related and would consult with her again in a heartbeat when we hopefully return. Now, if you're feeling overwhelmed with your Banff trip planning or just want a second set of eyes on your itinerary, I'd love to help. You can learn more and book a session with me at banfftravelplanning.com. Today, we're heading just 5 kilometers from the town of Banff to explore a scenic loop that packs in serene lakes, hiking trails, scenic picnic areas, and even a ghost town. Lake Minnewanka Scenic Drive might not get the hype that Lake Louise or Moraine Lake does, but honestly, that's part of the magic. The Lake Minnewanka Scenic Drive is one of my favorite areas around Banff. I'm always surprised that most people I talk to haven't even heard of this area, especially given its proximity to the town of Banff. If you have a day where you want less driving, this is a fantastic loop. You'll get incredible mountain views, opportunities to spot wildlife, chances to hike or paddle, and a whole lot more, all just a few minutes from downtown Banff. Okay, Lake Minnewanka Scenic Drive, what is it? The Lake Minnewanka Scenic Drive is a 28 to 24 kilometer loop road just outside the town of Banff. You'll see some different distances if you look it up online, but this really depends on where you're starting and if you include extra driving like the road to Johnson Lake. Us locals often call it the Minnewanka Loop, and it's one of our go-to spots when we want a quick nature fix without having to spend a lot of time in the car. It winds past lakes, trails, and scenic viewpoints, but it's so much more than just a drive. If you're short on time, this loop can be driven in under 30 minutes, but don't do that. Give yourself at least 2 to 4 hours, especially if you're planning to do a hike or a picnic. I usually recommend driving the road clockwise because then you can stop at Two Jack Lake and Lake Minnewanka on your right-hand side. During the busy season, it makes it a little easier to pull over without crossing traffic. And this is one of those drives that's absolutely stunning no matter the weather or season, though it does have some seasonal closures and restrictions, which I'll get into. So how do you get to the Lake Minnewanka area? If you have a car, you're all set. From the town of Banff, just head east on Banff Ave, and in about 5 kilometers, you'll reach the start of the loop. From there, it's easy to follow the road. Traveling without a car? Luckily, Rome Transit runs a Route 6 in the summer months, so typically mid-May to mid-October, and it makes stops at Cascade Ponds, Johnson Lake, Two Jack Lake, and Lake Minnewanka, and you can get on that at the Banff High School Transit Hub. You can also bike it, but heads up, you'll be sharing the road with vehicles, so I only recommend this if you're comfortable with road rides next to traffic. And obviously, many cyclists do it. The scenery is spectacular. If you're cycling from town, you can actually use the Legacy Trail at least to get you to Cascade Ponds, which gives you a little bit of time on the pathway, and then jump on the road from there. Now, most importantly, let's talk about what you can actually do during this drive. Aside from just enjoying the views, this loop is packed with activities. The main places to stop along the Minnewanka Loop are Cascade Ponds, Johnson Lake, Two Jack Lake, Lake Minnewanka, and Lower Bankhead. And yes, that's right, there's 3 mountain lakes that you can stop at, plus Cascade Ponds on this short loop. Let's start with Cascade Ponds, as it's the first one that you'll reach. Cascade Ponds is one of the most popular picnic spots in Banff. It has some flat, grassy areas and picnic tables. You'll also find bridges over the ponds and, water for your kids to throw rocks in. There's also a set of the Banff Red chairs there with incredible views of Cascade Mountain. While obviously great for a picnic, I actually prefer an early morning stop at Cascade Ponds to catch those mountain reflections in the water. In the winter, Cascade Ponds is a great little sledding hill for families. And if you're looking for a little bit more of an adventure in the summer, you can actually hike or bike to Lower Bankhead or Johnson Lake from Cascade Ponds. Although if you're heading to Johnson Lake, just know that there's quite a steep uphill to start. Shortly after the Cascade Pond turnoff, you're going to reach the main junction to the Lake Minnewanka Scenic Drive. You can go straight or turn right. Either way, you're going to want to drive the entire loop. Let's go right here so we can hit the road to Johnson Lake next. This is Banff's warmest swimmable lake and one of the best places for stand-up paddleboarding. Our family also loves to hike at Johnson Lake. It's a 3-kilometer loop around the lake. It's an easy hike with varied scenery. You'll spend some time in the forest. You'll also enjoy some incredible views of Mount Rundle and Cascade Mountain, especially from the far side of the lake. And there's even a hidden hermit cabin in the woods if you know where to look. In the winter, it's one of the earliest lakes to freeze and can offer some wild skating. You can also enjoy a short winter hike around the lake. Johnson Lake is definitely worth the stop along the Lake Minnewanka Scenic Drive. Now, back on Lake Minnewanka Scenic Drive, we'll first pass Two Jack Main Campground on the left side and then followed by Two Jack Lakeside Campground on the right. Both are great campgrounds, but Two Jack Lakeside is one of the most sought after campgrounds, and for good reason. It's right on beautiful Two Jack Lake. Continuing past the campgrounds, you're going to reach Two Jack Lake. It's one of the best sunrise spots in Banff. On a calm morning, Mount Rundle reflecting on the lake is stunning. You'll also find a set of red chairs and picnic spots here. There's an easy hike from the parking lot along the shores towards the campground if you want to go for a short walk. Two Jack Lake is also ideal for kayaking or stand-up paddleboarding. As you drive from Two Jack towards Lake Minnewanka, take care as you can sometimes see bighorn sheep along this section of the road. And now we get to the crown jewel of the loop. Lake Minnewanka is Banff's largest lake, stretching 21 kilometers long. There's a reason this is such a popular stop, and it's not just the views. Just know that the parking lot at Lake Minnewanka can fill up, especially in peak summer season and weekends. So here's what you can do at Lake Minnewanka. You can take a boat cruise. This is a narrated 1-hour tour that takes you down the lake and shares stories of the underwater village and Indigenous history. There are some great options for the boat cruise, including a beer cruise or the Junior Explorer cruise. You can actually rent your own motorboat on Lake Minnewanka, or you can rent kayaks. Mornings are best for kayaking, and of course, always wear a life jacket. Be aware that the winds can pick up quickly, so don't go too far out or choose a different lake if you aren't a strong paddler. Of course, there's some great hiking at Lake Minnewanka. The Stewart Canyon Trail is an easy 3-kilometer return walk with a sturdy bridge over a canyon. If you continue past the Stewart Canyon Bridge, you'll be on the Lake Minnewanka Trail, which goes for over 30 kilometers along the lakeshore. At the 8-kilometer mark, you can take the Elmer Lookout Trail for some of the most spectacular views of Lake Minnewanka. Just know that this makes for an especially long day of hiking. More importantly, if you're planning on hiking, be aware that the Lake Minnewanka Trail has very strict seasonal restrictions in the summer. You must hike with a group of 4 with bear spray and staying in very close proximity to each other. No dogs or bikes are allowed, and this is because the trail crosses through a grizzly corridor. Those grizzlies are going to be very busy trying to fill up for the winter, so you need to take this restriction seriously. Now back at Lake Minnewanka, of course, it has an incredible picnic area with tables, food lockers, toilets. It's a great place to settle in for the afternoon. And then, of course, you're going to want to capture all of those incredible moments. Take some family photos here. This is one of my favorite backdrops in Banff for family or engagement shoots. I highly recommend hiring a professional photographer. You will love the family pictures that you can get at Lake Minnewanka. 2 other stops along the Lake Minnewanka Scenic Drive are Upper Bankhead and Lower Bankhead. Upper Bankhead is the parking lot where you'll find some other trailheads for other hikes, including the one to Sea Level Cirque. Sea Level Cirque is actually one of my favorite moderate hikes in Banff. It has some really incredible views. And then finally, Lower Bankhead is where you're going to find the Bankhead Ghost Town. It's the remnants of an old mining town that's fun to explore. This old mining town has a short interpretive trail with rail cars and ruins. It's especially a hit with kids or really anyone interested in the history of the area. As I mentioned, the Minnewanka Loop is one of the best areas close to town for spotting wildlife. You might see bighorn sheep grazing right by the road, elk in the open meadows, especially May, June, and during rutting season, or bears feeding on berries in the summer. But please, please never get out of your car to approach the wildlife or to get a better picture. If a local tells you to back up or give space, just say thank you and move on. Not everyone is trying to ruin your photo, but to keep you and the wildlife safe. And always give the animals plenty of space. Carry bear spray if you're hiking. I really do love this area in Banff, and I enjoy visiting it any time of year. So here are a few more of my tips for the Minnewanka Loop. As I mentioned, there are some seasonal closures. In the winter, the western half of the loop is closed to vehicles to give space to wildlife. A portion of that road becomes a lovely cross-country ski route that turns onto the Cascade Fire Road. But this also means that the Bankhead area isn't accessible in the winter. If you head out for a day to enjoy all of the lakes along this loop, make sure you pack food and plenty of water, especially if you plan to spend some extra time at Lake Minnewanka. There's only a small seasonal snack shack at Lake Minnewanka. As always, I want you to bring some layers. The mountain weather changes fast. A sunny morning can turn cold and windy in minutes. If you do have a Lake Minnewanka boat cruise booked, you want to arrive early for parking, especially in July and August. That parking lot can fill up by 10 a.m., so just be aware of that. Or if you don't want to worry about parking, consider just taking the Roam bus. This area isn't just great for during the day. You can stay after dark. If the skies are clear, it's a local favorite for stargazing. This area is also amazing for photographers, both for wildlife and mountain reflections when the water is calm. As always, you want to check any trail reports before you head out hiking. Trails can close around Banff due to wildlife or any other reason, so you want to check that before heading out. And of course, don't speed and watch for wildlife. The bighorn sheep are frequent visitors here. Elk and bears can also be spotted, so you just want to make sure to keep them all safe and give them space. This drive really is such a perfect half-day or even a full-day adventure. You don't need any reservations unless, of course, you're doing the Lake Minnewanka cruise. It's just minutes from the Banff town site, and there's really something for everyone. I'm going to link my full guide to the Lake Minnewanka Scenic Drive in the show notes, and I also have detailed guides on the lakes and many of the hikes around, which I'll also include. And as I promised last week, I am continuing to add in listener questions, and this is one I get all the time. Can you recommend any good maps of the area? I'm having trouble figuring out where everything is. Looking at a map helps make sense of an area. It's something that's so much harder to do with just online research, and I totally get it. Banff and the surrounding parks like Yoho, Jasper, Kootenay, they all cover a huge area, and when you're new to the region, it can be really hard to figure out where everything is in relation to each other. So here are my top 2 tips. For a paper map, get the GemTrek map. These are my favorite paper maps of the Canadian Rockies. If you want a good big picture overview, the Canadian Rockies regional map and guide by GemTrek is fantastic. But they also have more detailed maps for each specific area, like Lake Louise and Yoho, Jasper, and even Kananaskis country. They're waterproof, trail-focused, and full of helpful details that go way beyond what you're going to find on Google Maps. I may even own every single one of them. Second is to download my Banff cheat sheets. This is a free download I created to help travelers like you understand the layout of the parks. It breaks down Banff, Jasper, Kootenay, Yoho, and Canmore, Kananaskis, and gives a quick overview of each area plus some of the top things to do. It's a really handy companion for visualizing your route and deciding how to build your itinerary. I'll link to the free cheat sheets in the show notes. Thanks so much for listening to this episode of the Banff Travel Podcast. If you're enjoying the podcast, do me a favor and share it with anyone else you know who's coming to the area, or leave a review, especially on Apple Podcasts. It really helps other people find the podcast. If you have a question you'd like me to answer in a future episode, head to banfftravelplanning.com/podcast and send it in. Until next time, happy trip planning, and I'll see you out on the trails.